Hello and welcome to our first virtual live lecture of child growth and development skills. Just a warning, I had a bit of a crisis this morning when I got to campus. I had planned to record while I was here, and I had saved all of my presentations into an external hard drive here, which as soon as I tried to copy those documents to the OneDrive, stopped working. So I have kind of been a mess trying to catch up and remake my slides. So what's going to happen is you're going to get a part 1 today and a part 2 on Friday, but there will be no quiz, just an exit ticket on how you're feeling about the course. So let's begin. So every class will have an agenda, and our agenda today will be introductions. I'm going to remove this beginning of year survey. I'm going to tell you who I am, one as a teacher, but also as a person. And then I'm going to ask who you are, but this will be your discussion board assignment that I plan on adding later. And then both your exit tickets and your syllabus scavenger hunts should provide a lot of information in addition to your discussion board on why you're in this course. Next, this is actually not a syllabus discussion. It's more me reminding you that there is a syllabus scavenger hunt on Blackboard to review. And what I'm going to do is part 1 is just going to be my introduction, and then part 2 will be me reviewing some of those more important points on the syllabus after you've completed the scavenger hunt, and reviewing kind of a little bit about child development, the beginning stages. So a little bit about me, and why I am someone who should and can teach this course. So I have a master's degree in early childhood education. My focus is on special needs or special education. I have a certificate in autism education from Rhode Island College that I did after. I've taught private Montessori school. I've been an interim daycare director at a community child care in my home. But more than anything else, I've done pre-K teaching in public schools. So I taught pre-K self-contained and integrated classrooms in Providence and Coventry. I will talk a little bit more about what those mean later on in the semester, but basically those are different compositions related to inclusion of children with disabilities in the classroom. A self-contained classroom has no students who are typically developing or do not have disabilities or delays. An integrated class usually is kind of a 50-50 combination. I've also worked for the Groden Center Early Intervention Program as the special ed coordinator, really the person who handled play groups for our toddlers with autism. And since working directly with parents and children, I've also taught in higher education, colleges and universities. My experience has been at the University of North Carolina and the University of New Hampshire, both places I've been to where I've taught classes about autism, about inclusive early childhood education at different levels. And I've taught about diversity and cultural competence, as well as specific courses about characteristics of special populations. This is a course that I know a lot about because I studied early childhood, and I'm super excited to talk about all of this with you. So this is kind of an introduction on how I feel like I am able to teach this course, or why. I think what's helpful too is that my experience, although I am from New Hampshire and actually still live there now, is that my experience was in Rhode Island. That's where the bulk of my teaching was, and that's where the bulk of my understanding of how to work with children and families came from. For your discussion board, what I will want is something more like this, because you're just starting. You're not 35, almost 36 years old like me in a career. And even if you are, you might be changing careers, which, you know, we all have done at one time or another. So some fun background about me. As I've said, I was born in New Hampshire, raised in New Hampshire. I moved to Rhode Island in 2012 with my partner and lived there for 6 years before moving to Carborough, North Carolina, right outside Chapel Hill, and lived there in Durham for a couple of years before moving back to my home of New Hampshire. New Hampshire is definitely where my heart is because I do love rurality. As you can see, I love chickens. I love animals in general. This cat is Lonnie. She's a Maine Coon and Calico. And then these are just a few of our chickens. We have 2 Buff Orpingtons. We named them Betty and Kathy because Kathy's very chatty. And then this is one of our Amberlink chickens. She is named Amber. That was my clever name because she's chatty. I love chickens. I love animals. I'm actually a vegetarian for my own personal reasons. I don't really care what other people do. I just can't eat animals myself. And that's part of why I love living in New Hampshire. We have a lot of land in New Hampshire. We have a lot to work with, and it's hard for me to leave that, but New Hampshire does not have the diversity that Rhode Island has, and something that I really want to work with. So what are some other things about me? I love to hike and run. I've been very busy this summer, so I wasn't able to do as much, but part of why I love New Hampshire are the White Mountains and the number of high elevation mountains. I love my somewhat step kiddos. I say somewhat because technically they're not my step kids. They're my boyfriend's children, my partner's kids, but we spend a lot of time together. And then my greatest loves, though I am outdoorsy, as you can see, are actually related to TV. I love sitcoms, Cheers, Seinfeld, even later, The Office, Parks and Recreation. But more than anything, my favorite show is MTV's The Challenge. If you have ever watched it before, I mean, it's been on since I was 13, even before then. I could talk about that all day. So those are some of my hobbies, some of my favorite things. And just a fun fact about me, I'm going to want all of you to share a fun fact too. I have been in an operatic production before. Now, to be fair, this was when I was in college at UNH, but it's still the truth. I've been in 2. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm going to put some instructions on the discussion board, that this will be one of your discussion board or your discussion board assignments for this week. You have a few different things to complete this week, none of them too hard or intensive. They're really just kind of introductory. This is one of them. Next, as you know, the syllabus scavenger hunt is on Blackboard. At your leisure, I want you to review. We're going to come back together and talk about the syllabus in the second half on Friday. But I want to make sure you all know that the syllabus scavenger hunt is available on Blackboard. And I want you to all complete that by Friday. And then the last thought, this is where we'll start when I come back on Friday. That will obviously not be a live recording, but it will be a better recording with a better PowerPoint. I'm going to have you write your initial thoughts on child development based on what you've read in the book, if you have the book, and also what you think about child development. And we'll see how close we can come. And there's a reason I like to ask what your thoughts are first. It's a teaching practice. It's best to build off of prior knowledge and these kind of working models. And if we can build off of something we already know, we have an easier time understanding new concepts. And I just want to make sure everyone sees not that. Never mind, I'll have to wait till later, but I would like everyone to take some time to review Blackboard and the syllabus, and then I will be back on Friday with more information. All right, thank you so much.